Hey everyone, episode 3 of 3 with my good friend Brian Adamson. How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. How about yourself?
Oh man, I love speaking with you. So let me read one of your Instagram posts because they're just all just fire. This is the one. The seed money for your business you want to start is in your paycheck.
1000%.
That is just so on point. It's amazing.
Everybody's waiting for this, armored truck to pull up and drop off some money so they can get going. It's like, no, if you're not using your W-2 job as a tool, then you are failing when you go to work every day. There's nothing wrong with going to work. There's something wrong with going to work without a plan to do something supplemental or in addition to going to work, right? And so when I was in corporate America before I retired from that life, I always put my money to work, right? Via paycheck, even my 401k, right? I think many people, they're reluctant to touch it. Number one, because they scare us to not to, right? Oh, you're going to pay a penalty. Well, in reality, that penalty that you're paying back is actually interest to yourself, right? And so many people don't touch it for that reason. And the other is that they don't know what to do with it. Well, if you go out and you get some education like we have over the years, right? Then you understand that you can make plays, whether it be investing in yourself, right? Expanding your intellectual understanding of things, as well as going to put money into deals, right? If you can figure out how to take your 401k and put that into a deal passively, and you yield 15-20% on that, well, you beating your 401k all day long. And so I just think that we have a responsibility that if we're spending 40-50 hours a week away from our family doing this thing we call a job, that we control more of the narrative in terms of how we further produce fruit, other than the time that we're expending on producing it for the CEO, our boss.
Yeah, this is so on point. Again, one of the things that I talk about with folks is I believe the rat race starts the day you leave school, right? Whether you're a high school dropout, high school graduate, college dropout, college graduate, advanced degree, whenever you leave school, the rat race begins. And at that point, you have a choice. The rat race begins with working 40 hours for 40 years to live on 40%. If that's your choice, go for it. Nobody's judging you. If you want to work 40 hours for 40 years to live on 40%, go for it. Go.
Man, that's a mic drop.
There you go. But if you don't, if you're not okay with it, you need to find a way to save 20%, 25% of your paycheck, right? Because it's earn, save, invest, repeat. That's the magic of exiting the rat race. You have to create assets that peel off your bills. Hey, that asset pays the car payment. That asset pays, I don't know, phone and lights. That asset pays this, that pays that. And once you got that covered, you can be like Brian in a jet, right? So again, I don't want to begrudge anybody. I know many people in my network that love working for whatever reason. They're just wired that way. Good. Congratulations. If you are happy going to work, keep doing it. I hated it.
I spoke about this last night on my live, and I was telling people that when you can do exactly what you said and get your asset column to pay for your liability column, that, although, you're free now, for guys like us, even being free, we're still going to go out and produce active income. But the trick is this. Now you're free to make the decision as to what type of active income do you want to produce. And it doesn't have to be in the form of whatever you do 40-50 hours a week on a constant now, right? This is where we can start to figure out what was God's purpose for our lives, and what things what makes us tick that we can also still monetize through our efforts. And, until you start to have the discipline to really go out and build that asset column. And I know it sounds far-fetched when we say asset, right? It's just the thing. It's a commodity that pays you. So don't overcomplicate it, right? And believe it or not, you can get in for as little as a couple $1,000s. You can go out and learn creative financing strategies where you take a deal over and maybe give a person a couple $100 to lead a property. So there are ways for you to go out and acquire these things without having a ton of money.
Oh, totally agree. And again, I love speaking to kids in high school or people in their 20s, because you are at a point in life where the finish line is actually as close as it's ever going to be. Like in episode 1, I talked about a high school student living on $2K. For this is the saddest statement I've ever made. And most people don't get it, but let's see how it rolls. The day you leave school for most people is as close to financial freedom as you will ever get.
1000%, Mike.
I mean, listen to that again. The day you leave school is as close as most of you will ever get to financial freedom. That's a sad statement.
It is. It is. But that just shows the societal norms and how we're taught and how we're raised. Because immediately after that, we get into college debt, and right after that, we get into consumer debt. And then we run that rat race.
Lifestyle creep, and pretty soon you're running around the wheel and you can't get out, right? If you make $4,000 a month and you're spending 38,000 on fixed expenditures, you're in trouble. And again, it doesn't matter even if you make 40 grand a month, if you spend 39,500 on fixed things, you're done.
Absolutely.
You're one recession, one job loss away from being broke.
Yeah.
It's not about the income. It's about the expenses.
Absolutely. It is. Absolutely. And I think that, to your point, right, when you leave school, it's the most opportune time for you to set up what's deemed as a comfortable lifestyle for you.
Yeah.
I think that by the time you start to get out into the workforce, we're driven by what we see our peers do. And then at that point, that guy just got the bass boat. So now you think you got to go get the bass boat, and, you got a check stub that helps support that you can go get the bass boat. And you know what I mean? I think that's when all the bad habits start to form. So
it's even worse than that. It's not even the bass boat. It's again, just think about the time. And again, I say this, if you're a high school dropout, great. One of my experts I talk to every Tuesday is dropped out of high school in the 9th grade. Talk about not being set up for success, right? But he made it because he just started moving forward. Whenever you leave school, drop out of high school, college, whatever, that's as close as you're at. Because again, could you live on ramen noodles, right? Could you live on $5 a day for meals, maybe $10?
Right.
Yeah.
You could.
Yeah, but you leave school, you start getting fancy, and now you don't even do freaking breakfast for $10, right? And you're throwing away a $6 coffee that you half drank.
Yeah, that's the truth, man.
Yeah,
it's true. So I think in one other post that I put up recently, and I'm paraphrasing, but it said, success isn't what others think, it's what you think it is.
Oh yeah.
Right. And it's just that sandwiches right into this conversation, because if you can at 18 be strong-minded enough to determine what it is that you deem as being success, right? And that comes from what you're feeding yourself. What are you intaking on a daily basis, right? And I'm not saying it's easy. Trust me, at 18, you strongly influenced by a lot of things. But if you're somebody that's saying at 18, 19, 20, that I want to win in life, then these are the people that we're talking to right now, because you have the most opportune situation to say, you know what, I'm not doing it like everybody else. I'm gonna get a car that's paid for, right? I'm not gonna go out and get a bunch of credit card debt. And I'm gonna get me something that's comfortable, a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, or what have you. And I'm gonna go out and make sure I start building up that asset column immediately.
Yeah, again, folks, what if I had to do things different? I started my financial freedom journey when I was 30. But let's realize what that meant. That means I was already married. I already had a child. My expenses, I already had a house. My expenses were pretty beefy. So it took me 15 years. I was the doctor, to go back to cash flow game that you played with your daughter.
Yeah.
If I'd have started at 20 when we first got married, or 19 when I first got married, I could have been done by 25 or 26. It's just, it kills me that I could have been done by 30 instead of being done by 45.
Oh, absolutely, Mike. I mean, even for myself, I started investing in 2006. Got my first cash flow property in 2006. I was 22 years old in college. And then when the market contracted in 2008, I bought over 20 doors from 2008 to 10. And you may have heard the story, but I didn't have I was making 18 grand a month at 25, 26 years old. Granted, I already had my daughter, which I had at 18. And I did get married in 2007. But the point is that we built a brand new house at the top of the market before the recession. We had 2 car notes. I mean, the lifestyle creep, it all happened. And so I was really set at making 18 grand a month at 25, 26 years old, had I played the liability column the right way. And then, not only that, but I sold off 90% of that portfolio in a down market because I didn't have the education of understanding that I could have went out and got leverage to take care of the roofs and all the things that were going wrong with the properties. And it cost me a $2 million exit this time last year had I held on to that portfolio. So it's the compound effect all over again, right? Back to that. And we're just here to encourage you guys to learn from our mistakes, right? And whatever it is that you want, stick to that. I don't care what nobody says. I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care what social media is showing you. You have a way, you have an opportunity based on the information that you know to set up your life the right way. And you don't have to live in pain for 30, 40 years just trying to figure out how to get out the rat race.
Yeah, again, you don't have to work 40 hours for 40 years to live on 40%. If you choose to, it's awesome, but you don't have to. The other thing I'll close with is if you're a high school graduate and you choose to, you can be financially free by 25. If you're a college graduate, you can be likely financially free by 30. If you choose to, you live conservatively, live below your means, work, bust your ass during the day, you can get there. Any closing comments, Brian?
No, I think that was it, Mike. The 40, can you say the 40, 40, 40 one more time?
Again, if you choose to work 40 hours for 40 years to live on 40%, that's your choice. If you want to, great, but you don't have to.
That's deep, Mike. I never heard it that way. I think that's the best closing out there.
Feel free to steal it. I look forward to an Instagram post.
Coming.
All right, folks. Brian, tell people how they can follow you.
You can follow me at Brian_Adamson1. You can also find me at www.iflip.university and bbreducationgroup.com.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for your time this Saturday.
Thank you, man.
You got it.